Hello there, this is James Scrappy James 1978, and how dare those arrogant and ignorant religious bigots make any kind of connection between atheism and clinical depression, telling all atheists that they are depressed and miserable people precisely because their life has no meaning, conflating the absence of a belief in any god or gods with a clinical, diagnosable and often hopefully treatable psychiatric or psychological condition which may have many genetic, neurochemical and environmental causes, implying not only that you are depressed because you are an atheist, but you are an atheist precisely because you are depressed, that accepting Jesus or Allah will solve all of your problems, perhaps even implying or stating outright that atheism itself is a mental illness that requires treatment, or at the very least using depressed or miserable atheists as ad hominems, dismissing arguments out of hand because you're just trying to drag us down into the dirt with you. Using the ignorance, prejudice and stigma surrounding clinical depression to incite the ridicule, prejudice against and ostracism of people who simply don't believe in any god or gods, thereby perpetuating the ignorance, prejudice and stigma which prevents people with clinical depression from actually seeking help and being treated as an equal human being who just happens to suffer from an invisible condition. But in some cases, no, they're not actually targeting or talking about the mental illness at all. Instead, it is entirely about atheism, only using mental illness as a platform to explain the dangers and drawbacks of non-belief in a broader social context. Imagine, for example, the hypothetical Irish Catholic priest who reads the tragic story of an atheistic woman who cut her son's throat. How, for weeks beforehand, her husband reported that she'd been walking around insisting that there was no God, that life was meaningless, that she felt incredibly guilty for bringing her son into this miserable and hopeless world, and that there was no reason for anyone to continue living. And then, with absolutely no corroborating evidence, no further research, and no understanding of the issues involved, as well as completely ignoring the fact that the article itself made absolutely no mention whatsoever of any kind of mental illness, made a YouTube video saying that this woman is no doubt suffering from some kind of mental illness, and I can no more judge her for her inability to perceive reality than I can judge a blind person for their inability to perceive the colour red. This is an illness for which she requires treatment. What I can judge, though, is the kind of community that breeds an environment where such behaviour goes unchecked. When saying that there is no God, that life is meaningless, and that there is no longer any reason for anyone to continue living is par for the course, how are you supposed to tell when someone is mentally unstable? To all the people who ask what harm atheism can do, here's the harm. And of course, when atheists make responses cutting out all of the bullshit, dealing with the actual issues and getting to the core of what this hypothetically ignorant and bigoted fuckwit is actually saying, that's not a straw man. That's not a quote mine, because we're the rational, skeptical and free-thinking atheist community. We never use ad hoc, straw man or quote mine, and we never make appeals to emotion or use tragedies as propaganda to push our own agenda or to promote knee-jerk hatred and fear. We never tar an entire group of people with the same brush based solely on the fact that they share a single trait in common, or make grand, sweeping assertions and declarations out of complete and total ignorance, insisting that we're right for no other reason than because we're atheists, full stop. We never diagnose people online using Wikipedia or discuss the connection between a certain belief or practice, mental illness, or the problems and tragedies associated with mental illness, insanity, delusions, or hallucinations without the first fucking clue what we are actually talking about. And we certainly never stigmatize, ostracize, or condemn people because we have labeled them as suffering from an invisible condition, regardless of whether they actually do or not. Can you self-righteous pig fuckers even spell hypocrite? I've said it before and I'll say it again. If this is the noble, righteous and intellectually honest, skeptical, free-thinking and rational atheist community of which you are so proud, then you can keep it.